So this question is to do a door, okay? And you're asked to do a stained panel glass of your own design afterwards, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the door. So again, as always, I'll use a pink pen to just lightly draw out the main object. So we have a few measurements here. We have 15 and 25, which is 40, and 10 is 50, and 25 is 75, and 15 is 90. It's not too wide a door, it's 90 wide. So we'll draw a line across there. And then we have the height. And we can see here the height is added up for us. So it's 200 high. So it's important that we start here in order for it to fit. So I come up to 160. So I'll go an extra 40. Okay. So if you have your long set square, I just don't happen to have my one here somewhere. But you could just measure with your long set square, it'll go up to 200. Okay, so I went to 160 and then I went to 40 more. Okay, so I'll bring up the other side. And I'll bring my mark across to meet it. So I have my outline of my door. And then I want to start with the base panels. So I'm going to come up 20. And then I'll come up 50. So 20 and 50 is 70. And I'll draw, again, my pink lines are light. Across. And then I'll come in 15. And then I have 25, which is 40. Gap of 10. And I can come in 15 from the other side. Okay, so I'll bring them up. And I'm then happy with that. So I have basically the two base panels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black, or you take your pencil and you'll go over it heavier. So I'll do the outline first. And then I'll do the panels themselves. So I'll just do the two base panels. I'll just heavy in at this stage just to know which lines I've used. And also just to make it a little bit easier for me to see what I've done and what I've left to do. Okay, so basically I have the two base panels there. Apologies, my marker smudged a little bit. So I then have the letterbox. So we have a 5mm gap and then a 10mm gap. And then we may as well mark on the other 5 for basically where the glass is going to go. So let's see, get the thicker marker. So we have a 5, and then we have a 10, and we have a 5. So again, we'll draw those lightly across. Okay, so the letterbox, we're told, is 10mm out from these. So we need to measure the 10mm from here. Okay, so you could do the maths as well. Obviously, this gap is 10, but it must be 30mm wide. So basically, it's. And just to bring down my light line, what I did is I measured 10 from there to there, 10 from there to there, and then brought it up. And again, what I'll do is I'll heavy the letterbox now. Okay, well, my marker's a little bit inky. So what I want to do now is I want to draw the bit for the glass. So you can see here the glass lines up with the base panels. Okay, so it lines up with these sort of panels here. So I can just bring up those lines straight from there, but I'll mark come down 15 from the top, so that I can mark where to stop. Okay, so you should be able to see that. So if I bring up this line here, and I bring up this line here, and I bring up this line here, and I bring up this line there. Okay, so you can then design the glass to your own design. Now what I did here was I picked some various designs. Maybe I'll shade the outside first. I picked some various designs that you might decide to do. Alternatively, you can look up stained glass doors on Google and see, can you find any interesting designs that you like? So it doesn't have to be the same as what I decided to pick out. You can pick any type of design you want. But first, I suppose I'll do a very quick shading of this, just so that it stands out. Okay, so I suppose the reason for this question, as well as get used to your drawing skills, is just to give you a bit of individuality in terms of what type of glass door would you like to put into, or glass panel would you like to put into your door. Okay, so let's see, do I have a different, that's very similar. Get a different colour, darker brown for this, just to stand out. So the shading doesn't have to be the same as the one over here, but I do want to make the panel stand out a little bit of different colour. So again, you may not have a series of browns, but you could use a brown and a yellow maybe for this. And we'll just shade the letterbox the same, or maybe you could use an orange or that flat. So what you want to do, I'm going to pick sort of these type of designs, but you can pick whatever you want. And it doesn't have to be too precise. So I'll just draw it in pencil. I don't happen to have a normal pencil. I do actually have one here. So I'm just going to use this sort of as an idea. So they sort of had 2 panels there, and then the downward part. And then what do they have? They're the various sized rectangles. So let's have a bigger panel here. Okay. So I'm just doing sort of a square stained glass panel, but you can pick something, whatever you're interested in. There's no right or wrong answer. You could pick a stained picture. So sometimes some of you might have stained flowers, particularly are common, but here was a fancy one for Alice in Wonderland, where they had a stained Alice and a stained hare. Right, so obviously the person who was interested in this, just an unusual one that I happened to find, was interested in Alice in Wonderland. So we'll say something like that, and you can repeat the same design under the door. And then you can take your series of colours and you can start to sort of shade it in, or whatever colours you like the best. So I'll just pick a few here. Okay, and again you could spend a little bit more time on it than I might. Okay, probably be a bit neater. There's no point spending ages just doing shading for a video. Okay, so there's my version on one side. Now you wouldn't have to have 2 of the same panels. You'll see that these 2 panels here aren't the same. So if you do pick a design like what I picked, you wouldn't necessarily have to have two of the same size panels. That's just one example of what you could do. You can make your own design depending on what it is that you're interested in terms of design. As I said, a good way to do it is to look at Google and see if there's some type of stained glass door design that you like. And that's the question for today.